Are you sick of that same old snare sound here in GarageBand? If you wish that you could make that snare sound really cut through your mix, well, in this video, I'm going to show you a very cool tip that might help you do just that. Let's go. Hi, my name is Pete and welcome to Studio Live today. Yes, we're back here in GarageBand. We're looking at drums again because this tip is going to really help you if you've got some rock songs, hard rock, heavy metal songs that you want to really cut through. Even EDM, I think this will work for you. If you've got a snare sound that is not cutting through your mix, this tip could really help you out. Now, a big shout out once again to my friend Gary Hubbs. He shared this tip with me because I was really struggling with the snare drum on my new song, New Beginning, and he gave me these tips. I said, Gary, how do you get your snare drum to cut through the mix? And he told me exactly how. Now, if you haven't checked out the previous videos, I showed you firstly how to split out your drums into separate tracks. That's super important because we need to do that. I also showed you Gary's tips for kick drums, and now we're going to look at snare drum sounds and how to really make your snare pop. So let's stop talking about it and show you how we get this done. Let's jump in now and show you the two different things that we're going to do to this snare drum. So we'll tap on the mixer icon here, we'll tap plugins and EQ, and spoiler alert, it's distortion and it's visual EQ. Now the EQ is something I've used before and makes sense. The distortion, something I've never used on a snare before, but now that I've used it, I'll probably use it over and over again. Let's jump in and take a look. So the EQ, we'll turn that on. We'll tap on the EQ here. You can see here, we've got a cut here down at 50 Hertz or 49 Hertz of 13 dB. And then we've got a boost here up at 2 kilohertz or around about there, up 3 dB, and then up around about 7 dB, up here around that 4 or 5K mark. So this gives us a reduction here in the bass, which is going to ensure it's not competing with our kick drum and our bass lines, and a little bit of a treble boost to make sure it's cutting through our mix. Let's hit done on that one. Let's turn that off. This is what our snare drum sounds like without the EQ. Let's turn it on. Back off. Back on. Hear how that's cutting through the mix. That treble boost and that bass cut is really helping this cut through. So that's nothing new. Like I have used that before in snare sounds and it works well. Here's the thing that is a little bit different. That's distortion. So you can add the distortion plugin here. If you tap on edit and you hit the plus button there, you can go into your effects here and touch distortion, and that's going to throw distortion on your track. We've already done that here, so we don't need to do that. We'll hit done. If we look at the distortion settings here though, we've got drive of 6 dB. We've got the tone here around about 3.3 kilohertz here, 3,300, and we've actually dropped the output here. So it'll by default make it sound really crunchy, and you don't want that. But these settings, again recommended by our friend Gary, really do sound good. Let's play the snare, and then I'll throw this distortion on and you'll hear the difference. Here's the original. Here's our distortion. Right. How punchy is that snare? So the distortion kind of tames a little bit of that top end, gives it a little bit more guts, and really makes it cut through your mix. Now again, you can play around with the drive, the tone, and the output settings to make it sound the way you want it for your track. But if we bring this back in here, let's take a listen to this snare in the mix here with these effects added. It sounds like this. Let's turn the effects off of that snare. If we take off that distortion and those EQ moves, take a listen to this snare now. Turn it back on. Sounds like this. So a couple of very simple moves here, our distortion and our EQ, but it makes all the difference when it comes to our track here in GarageBand. How cool is this? We've now got our kick and our snare separated out here. We've got complete control over the volume, but also the effects that we have on those. I hope you found this one useful. There's a couple of more drum-related GarageBand videos there and a heap more down in the description if you follow that playlist. Thanks for watching this one. Thanks again to my friend Gary. You rock, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.